Maybe I should show them how to do this properly. If I get one of these and combine it with one of those, it's gonna make that work, but it's just too expensive. Bugger it. Oh, hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for stopping by again. Last week's episode we tackled the NES, specifically the CR2032 batteries and how to change them without losing your save data. Feel free to check that one out. I've had good feedback on that, so I've been pretty happy with that one. Which brings me to the next point, maybe a bit of a 2.5 episode as such, from a really good friend of mine, Kevin at Buried on Mars, who's been a really big help to this show lately. So if you want to go check out some great retro gaming video content, make sure to go to Buried on Mars at YouTube. That's where I go. Right. Anyway, on that theme, the letter here is from Kevin himself, and it reads, "Hey Jared, I've been really enjoying the new series and am very happy to see the major improvements in your videos in the short amount of time. Seeing how a major YouTube star is requesting a question, maybe a plug might be in order. Or you just got yours before, but there will be more. And I'm really enjoying the video on changing the game batteries without losing a save. I would like tips on soldering and desoldering, mainly the batteries and odd jobs around retro gaming carts. Can you do a tutorial? Cheers, your pal, Kevin, Buried on Mars." Of course I can, Kevin. I've actually got one here that's due for a battery swap, so I was thinking we'll do like a brand new one, and then we'll work around some techniques and components and other things that you could use and find useful to help you work your way around the old desoldering and soldering job and basic repairs for yourself. Some tools, tricks, and some budgets to stick by, which are not going to break the wallet, which is really good. So thanks for stopping in again, guys, and stay tuned as we take part on episode 2.5 of Retro Revolutions, do-it-yourself at-home modifications. Cheers, guys. If you've been following the show, you would know that we do breakdowns of gear that we're going to need before we get into the shot. Right, so this one here is not essential, but I recommend you pick yourself something up like this. It's called a third arm handy mate. Now what it's got is a soldering iron holder here, a magnifying glass, an LED light under here which you can switch on and off, and then these little alligator clips that are adjustable which can hold your PCBs. Now the idea here is it frees up a hand for you, so why wouldn't you want this? Anyway, they range from as little as $5 to $10 on AliExpress, but you can go get them as expensive as you want. And if you're going to do a lot of modifications at an entry level, at least I suggest you get something like this. Anyway, let's get into what I think you'll need. As always, you're going to want a soldering iron. This here is 60 watts, pretty generic, nothing really special about it. It's just used for these videos. It does 200 degrees to 450 degrees Celsius and it's 60 watts. And I like the fact it's see-through, as you can see if it's on or not at the time with the power light. Another non-essential but really handy and great for the entry-level modder is the solder sucker. This thing here pumps up and releases to suck the solder up as it's in a liquid form. Get these from around the range of $10 to $11. For something like this though, you're looking at about $20 to $21 retail. Handy but not necessarily a must-have, but I'm suggesting if you're getting into it at an entry level, at least have something like this. If you're going to be going in and out of your game carts all the time, I suggest you look for a game opening tool set. This is the one we use for the NES, but it comes with another one like this and a smaller one like this. This particular one I picked up on eBay for like as little, I think it was $4, and you know, you can just, they're everywhere. But they use funny screws on the Nintendo, so you're going to have to get one of these to get in there without causing damage generally. Right, now into the essentials, what we're going to need for this mod, and you can't do without. First of all, we're going to do this properly, we're going to use some solder wick, some 3mm to be exact, a soldering remover. Now what this does is, once you've removed something from the surface, you can clean this excess solder off with it, and just great for cleaning up your jobs as well. And you'll see why it's really good soon. Okay. Once again, as before, the generic 60% tin, 40% lead solder, nothing too special. Couple of bucks there. Same with the solder wick. You can pick these both up for under $10, so not going to break the bank there. A non-essential, but I would highly recommend, is a solder tip cleaner. If you're going to be doing this often, getting into modding, you're going to want to be able to clean your solder tip and keep it in good nick, so you don't transfer dirt and debris into your solder joints and make messy jobs of your work. A tidy job, a clean job is a good job. The star of the show returns, the CR2032 pre-tab battery. This one here is about $1 off eBay. Make sure you get the ones with the little spot welds on it, so you know that they've been done properly, and the little leak shield around the sides. It's just better off not to do them yourself, like I showed you before. Cause an explosion, and if that wasn't in a controlled environment, you can actually really hurt yourself. Of course, to do a battery swap and a bit of playing around with a cart, you're going to need a cart. The one of them has a CR2032 battery that we're going to use today is the Dragon Warrior game, the very first game, also now known as Dragon Quest. But great little title, and this one's brand new and due for a battery swap, so when I get them, I just do them as a rule of thumb anyway, so that I know they're good to go before I play them. Okay, let's get into it now and kick off by opening this card up, and we'll start with the battery and go from there, and then I'll teach you some tricks and tips that are going to help you improve your soldering. Alright, so let's begin. First of all, what you're going to want to do is open your card up with your little tech bit, flip it over. I usually put a silicone mat down when I do any work, just to protect from scratches and things, so it's a good trick to have one. I've got a proper mat at home, but this one's just for the point of this. So there's 1, 2, 3 here. You take it out and reveal the card. And what we can see here is the batteries. It already looks like someone's already had a go at doing this before I got this card off eBay, so that could be questionable. But the Maxell CR2032 batteries, I think, are the actual original ones, yeah, and it's from Japan, so yeah, this isn't actually someone's job, this is an original. Alright, so what I'll do is get it into the third arm and be back, and I'll show you how. The first thing we're going to do is remove it. Show you the way to get this battery off. First of all, what you do before you go anywhere is get these edges pried up a bit, so you can have a look at your polarity, right? Because you don't want to put it in backwards. Even though you've got this diode here protecting it from shorts to the chip, you want to make sure you put it back in the right way, otherwise it won't work at all. So we come to the point here, right? And you can always tell, because if you look at this capacitor here, as a rule of thumb, there is a plus symbol right here, and then the other leg of this capacitor is the negative, which goes to this plane. So you know it's a negative plane here, right? This is the negative plane, or the ground they call it, sorry, ground plane. Right, and this is your positive leg here, and the positive wraps over the end of it. So now we've determined that, you want to put it back in the correct way that we did take it out. So I'll get you set up and I'll show you how to get it out. Because this is probably fairly old solder, what I'll do first is put some fresh solder on it. So I'll get my roll of solder out, and I'll just put a bit of heat here and apply a bit of solder to this, like that. Get it nice and fresh again, then it will melt a lot easier and won't have as hard a time. With batteries, keep in mind when you're taking them off, you always want to try and have a high heat but a quick time period, because you don't want the heat to get into that battery. Right. So now that I've applied the fresh solder, the trick is you want to create a small amount of pressure on the back of this by putting a screwdriver in here. This is not necessarily the prettiest way, but it's probably what you'll find easiest at home. Just apply a tiny bit of pressure to the cart. As you solder, it pops straight out, see? Like that. And you can turn it over and the battery has popped out of its tab. Now what you can do is you can hold the battery on the other side and apply that solder iron to there whilst pulling. And there you have your battery out. It's the quickest and easiest way. Now I'm going to show you how to tidy up where the solder was and get it ready for a new battery. Now I've got my PCB held up by the HandyMate now, so I have two hands. One thing you want to pay attention to is this here is actually not burn if you think it would be. It's residue from the solder. So when you're done doing this, just clean it off with rubbing alcohol and you should be good to go, and it comes up spotless. Now to get this ready for a new battery and to do it properly, a thing that I find often glanced over a bit in videos is how to use solder wick and what to do with it. So you get the heat of the soldering iron here, right? And all you do is just heat up the area, heat through it, like that. You got a brand new clean surface to resolder to, and the original solder tab's exposed from 1985. Right, I'll just pause and I'll cut the end off this wick because you can't reuse it, and then I'll start on the left tab. A lot of people ask me why do you take so much time to explain stuff like I do. The reason for that is it's because I enjoy what I do, and if it's something you love doing, why not try to do it the best you can and help others. Right, so bit of a trickier one, but I've got it there. Should be ready to go. Right, and I'll clean up all that garbage around there and be back. As you can see now, the residue's gone. It looks brand new and clean and ready to go. So I'm going to get the battery ready, the new one, and we'll solder it in. I'm going to start with this leg, because what we'll do, the positive leg, is secure it in place. And because I haven't been able to pull the hole through here, you may not be able to either, is you just heat solder and push the other one through. Okay, so I'll get it set up and I'll show you how to do it. If you watched the previous video to this, you would have seen the little life support system that comes off the end of this. You could do all this with this still in situ while doing it, but the emphasis of this today is just to specifically show you how to get this one in right. So we'd imagine we weren't even worried about the saves this time. So you're going to get your positive leg of the battery here, you're going to fit it in right there like that, right? Flip it over. Okay, see that the pin's hanging through? Fold it over so it can't pull back through. Get your soldering iron and your solder and start at the outer edges to create something for the solder to bond to. Now I must stress, if you're using rubbing alcohol before, make sure it has time to evaporate or you may set yourself on fire. Right, so that one's done. I'll get set up for the next leg and I'll show you the trick. Okay, for the negative leg of the battery, start by putting some new solder on this pad. Bear with me here, there's a reason for this. Right, now I'll be back and I'll show you step by step this part. This is the easiest way. Flip your card over and line your tab up with that existing hole. Right, I'm just getting it lined up for you. Now apply pressure whilst heating your new solder pad, and what will happen is it'll push through. And now your battery's in. Done. Alright, so that's how you do a battery swap, Kevin. Thanks for writing in about that, buddy. I've had a few little other ones that people want me to show you on some tinning and stuff while we're here, so we might as well get into that too. Anyway, put the cart back together and should be good to go from now on in. Alright, thanks for that part, guys. We'll get to the next bit, tinning wires. What you want to do is strip a piece of wire like I've done here. Just preheat the surface, heat your soldering iron between the iron and the wire, and just heat, drag it along. And that's a tinned wire. Right, your sheath may burn off if you've got some extreme heat on there, but that's alright. Use shrink if it's too bad. Alright, I'll make up a couple of these and I'll show you how to do some bodge wiring. Right, so here's one for you to try at home. Grab a broken PCB. I'm going to demonstrate on a good one here, but just for at home. And you're going to get a tin set section here with these tin wires we had before. Tin it in. And tin to the other end of this plane where you know it's stuffed. Create a bridge. That's a bodge wire. Something for you to try at home if you're not too sure on soldering. Practice tinning and practice bridging stuff. And this will, once you can make it look neat, move on to the next one. And I'll give you another exercise in the next episode. But please stay tuned. The next episode is gonna be huge. It's gonna be a really big modification, something that you may not have ever seen before. For a really good friend of mine, so I'll keep a little bit of mystery and surprise there. But thanks for stopping by on episode 2.5, and I hope you join us for episode 3. Cheers, guys.
Hey now everybody, Barry Delmars here, and if you want to contact Jared at Retro Revolutions to see your modification question answered on an episode of the show, as well as receive the mod afterwards, well, send your email into retrorevolutionsdesigns@gmail.com. That's retrorevolutionsdesigns@gmail.com. And you could be on the next episode of Retro Revolution, your home for do-it-yourself modifications on retro consoles and retro games. Don't forget to like and subscribe.